Hey everybody, Nintendan here,
And Dead of Night here.
and together we are Bearpear
Bearpear
Gaming.
Gaming.
So we wanted to do something a little different for this video. Since we're coming to the end of the year, we thought we'd do like a year in review type of video thing. We wanted to talk about kind of our experiences with the games we played this year.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like a recap and which ones we thoroughly enjoyed over the course of this year.
There was a lot of games we played and a lot of games we still haven't been able to get to, but we do want to get to eventually on the channel. So starting things out, let's go with new Pokemon Snap. I think this game took us by surprise because we weren't sure if they were going to be able to recapture the magic of the original or not. And we did manage to actually play the original, I believe, the day before we got the game.
We didn't know what to expect from this game because it's been such a long time since the first one, and we didn't know what they could do to further improve such a game because there's not really that many games like it. You're a photographer, you go out and take pictures of Pokemon. Mm-hmm. It's very unique in that way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when we did manage to play it, it was one of those games where, oh, I can't wait to pick it up where I left off and like get back to seeing what else that we haven't found yet. And they really, I think they did a good job in making you want to come back for more because. Yeah. The pictures have challenges. There's challenges to the photos and what the professor's seeking out. Try to get a Pokemon to do this, or it gives a lot of replay value to it.
Yeah, we spent so many hours trying to get what was it, 4 stars the max or 5 stars?
The max stars.
Yeah, we spent so many hours trying to get the max stars and the best poses and try to unlock all the poses. I remember our roommates specifically just walking around watching us play because we were playing in the living room at the time, and they're like, "You guys are really invested in that game right now." And we're like, "Yeah." I think we were still full into the pandemic, so yeah, we were looking for something to sink our teeth into, and that was that game.
It was perfect timing.
Yeah.
For us.
All right, so moving along, the next game we want to revisit is Resident Evil Village.
Mm-hmm.
So I still haven't finished my playthrough, but we did experience the game together when you were playing through the game.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think I have to say this is probably my game of the year. They did so much right in this game. I was a fan of Resident Evil 7 already. I know you kind of prefer the old style, which, people do compare the over-the-shoulder Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 style over the first person. But I think it's its own thing. They're trying something new. And this one did so many things better than Resident Evil 7. It built more on that engine, and it did a lot more things story-wise, character-wise, and environment-wise. The village is its own little hub world that you unlock bits and parts of it each time you revisit it.
Yeah. So after playing it, it's kind of a freak show kind of game. You run into different people of the village and the kind of bosses of their own area. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I get that word from.
Very Mega Man like.
Yeah, it's Capcom. It's Capcom. I think it shows its colors with Capcom there. It's just, I kind of agree with a lot of the fans where they wanted Lady Dimitrescu to last longer than she was ended up being. When you have a good character design and a solid backstory, those are the characters they want to see more of.
They actually make you feel for Ethan in this game. as much as you can feel for a faceless character, you know what I mean?
In this one, you feel a little more for him, but you're still not like as dedicated to him as like Leon or Claire or
Yeah.
Chris and Jill. Speaking of Jill, I'm hoping she's in the next one.
As you mentioned, how there was the different bosses. Each of those bosses had their own environment, and some of them like they were different aspects of horror. Like you had your kind of like vampire goth style horror where you were being stalked by Lady Demetresque, and then you go to the house of what's her name, kind of like psychological horror type thing where you're getting where you're in the house with the dolls and you're solving all these like weird escape room type things. So like there's different horrors in there for horror fans to enjoy.
One of them is bound to make you appreciate it more than maybe some of the others. Unless you're just all into horror, all kinds of horror, then all four of elements might get you.
Alright, so the next game we're going to talk about is a game that kind of came out in a weird time for us because there were multiple games we were playing or were also looking forward to coming out. And that game is Neo: The World Ends With You. So, the original World Ends With You was one of my favorite games on the DS, if not my favorite game on the DS. And I'm glad we got to experience it together when the HD remix came out for the Switch. And it seems like you got pretty invested in the story and the characters as well. Now with Neo, I feel like Square did not like they did next to nothing to promote this game. And it's really a shame because it's a really good game. It does a lot of good storytelling, and the battle mechanics, while different from the original, I'm really enjoying. We can't really talk too much about the game because we still haven't finished it. We are currently still playing it on our Twitch stream.
And it's one of those games where you can talk about the mechanics and like gameplay, but story-wise, it's gonna be spoilers. Just all spoilers.
Yeah.
But like Danny was saying, the pin system is still there. It's just you don't. I don't know if you're familiar with the first one, but it's not like tap on the pad, you swipe on the pad. Like it's the controller. You can use the controller for that.
Yeah. And each character controls a pin, so you know when you have a full party of characters, you have like 5 or 6 pins. It gets pretty crazy, but in a good like kind of way. Like I would say it moves very fluid. Like, and it doesn't get crazy to the point where okay, I can't remember the controls or anything because you're literally just pressing a button for each psych, but the way you have to like chain them together to get more points, and or in this case build your groove meter up, it just flows very fluidly. It might have been my game of the year if we had finished it, but I can't really give it that unless we finish it. So we'll be wrapping that up soon.
And then watch edit. You might like a little more into the story. Okay, it is my favorite.
No, but I'm gonna give it to Village because you really made me a fan of Resident Evil.
And another game we like to mention, or mostly me because I played it, is Bravely Default 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one was. So I kind of cheated. I didn't play the first one, but I heard that's okay with part 2, that it's its own story, and I just got right into it. And for someone who enjoys the Final Fantasy series, and the job systems, Bravely Default 2 felt very natural to me. The whole thing centers around jobs and the different combinations you can do with them. So character progression and character buffing up your character, trying out the different styles together, mixing them, going back and trying different mixes, and having a pretty enjoyable story as well. It's very it's lighthearted, and it's a very clean like story and idea that this game had. And like I said, I'm not trying to compare it to Final Fantasy, but it does have elements that you enjoyed about Final Fantasy into this game, almost as if it's almost as if of a like what would the older Final Fantasies be like if they were a little more upgraded to this kind of gameplay and graphics, but at the same time it's not them. So you get like a new story and you get new characters and such.
It's also Square, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So I recommend it if you're into RPGs, turn-based RPGs.
Yeah, Square had a couple good RPGs this year. They just, they're AAA like Final Fantasy type games, but go out support these games. Bravely Default 2, Neo World Ends With You. They're both great games. They're not, especially Neo. They're not
Square's cash cow.
yeah, so they don't like promote the hell out of them like they do with every single Final Fantasy VII mobile game.
And how can we get Kingdom Hearts to still be relevant?
So yeah, definitely go support these games. Tell Square, hey, these games have a future. They have a fan base. And honestly, they do harken more to kind of like the older Square rather than the new direction they're going in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so continuing on, we saw the release of Metroid Dread this year as well. So this was a game that fans were waiting for years.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was in development hell for like over 10 years, I want to say. It was rumored for a long time, then it was dropped, and they said they weren't working on it anymore, and it wasn't even a thing anymore.
And then that Metroid multiplayer game left a bad taste in people's mouth, I'm sure.
People were wondering where Samus's and the Metroid franchise's future was going because they weren't coming out with much.
Oh, but wait, didn't they come out with the Metroid game on handheld?
Yes. So it was the remake of Metroid 2. It released on the 3DS, and I think that kind of helped revive interest in the Metroid series. But Nintendo really did promote this game. Like they did their part, they promoted it, and I'm glad that they did because this game is gorgeous. The visuals, everything about it. It was hard. It was hard as hell, but it was never to the point where I wanted to stop playing. It was to the point where I wanted to get to the next part of the game. Like, especially with the Emmys chasing me and me screaming my head off all the time. I know you didn't really get a chance to play it because you were working a lot at the time, but I know you've seen some of the Let's Plays I've put up on the channel.
Yeah, and as someone who doesn't play Metroid at all and never really got into the series, I can appreciate how gorgeous the game looks. Like, I'll see Samus doing her thing, shooting enemies, and then I believe they added mechanics to it that people appreciated. Oh, yeah. So yeah, you can tell they put a lot of effort into this game, and they didn't want Metroid, the franchise, to like go into like video game graveyard or anything. Like, they wanted to make sure that Samus was saved and she can, still provide some good games. And that Metroid Prime game is hovering.
Oh yes, Metroid Prime 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that. And I know you've been kind of interested in the series a little more now that you've seen kind of what it has to offer.
Yeah, like just seeing Metroid Dread like in motion made me start up Super Metroid on the SNES online program. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm starting to open the door of Metroid, but
he's peeking inside.
Yeah, I'm like, what's the series about,
Mm-hmm. I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah. It gives me like, because I heard it's they take pages from Alien franchise.
It's very inspired.
And that's one of my favorite sci-fi horror movies. So yeah, I'm willing to give it a try.
All right, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so fighting game wise this year, there wasn't too much actually, but we did see that the support for Smash Ultimate came to an end, and we did see the reveal of the final character, which was Sora.
Yeah, Sora.
And that took us by surprise a lot. I mean, I had heard rumors that Sora was going to be added, and people have been asking for him for years, but I didn't think it was ever going to actually happen. And it happened. We're here.
Right.
Sora's in Smash Brothers. I
Well,
can say that.
Well, like for me, it was a surprise, but it wasn't a completely out of nowhere surprise. Like I knew they had to have a reserved character for the final character for Smash, and I felt like Sora is of that caliber to be the final character. Like go out with a bang, kind of. To finish the roster. But yeah, he fits. They made it work, just like they have with all the characters, and Smash Brothers is now finished.
Like we're both big Smash Brothers fans, so it was nice to see all these video game characters coming together, and that's ultimately what Smash Ultimate became. It's this mesh of all these video game characters coming together to kick the living daylights out of each other. And keeping on with that theme, another game that released this year that we were both kind of surprised about.
That one I was legit surprised about. Like, when's the last time do you look up what Nickelodeon's been up to lately?
The game we're talking about is Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. This game really took us both by surprise, I would say. I fell into the hype, I was like, okay. Like at first I was wary. I'm like, oh, it's another Smash clone. We've seen those in the past before and they didn't work out great.
This one, they did well. The mechanics are really quick. Like everyone can wave dash, everyone can air dash, and they all kind of have the same speed in a way. Like maybe not exactly the same, but
Patrick.
But like movement around, like moving around and stuff, and that makes it more fun. Yeah, you can die a lot quicker. Refer to our clips if you haven't.
Yeah.
But that's kind of okay. Like matches don't have to be long to be fun.
And the team behind the game has mentioned time and time again that they are still working on the game. They have a list of things that they are still planning to release for the game. They've played around with maybe the chance of voice acting coming to the game, but we've also seen that they dropped Garfield as a playable character, and he was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Go check out that video if you guys didn't see us playing as Garfield for the first time. And they have mentioned that there's plenty more characters and content coming our way, including crossplay. I have fun with the game still, and I can't wait till what comes next for it. We did see a new Mario Party drop this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a blast playing it with our friends and playing it online with random strangers as well.
Yeah.
Especially on stream. I want to make it like a thing where we get together with some of our friends and play this game. Sit down. It definitely takes us back to the N64 days when Mario Party was more simple.
Yeah. With this one, they kind of went back to return to form,
Yeah.
and they kept it more simple. They had some reminiscent boards that were in previous Mario Parties, and then they picked out mini games that were favorites, and they just all stuffed them all in this game, which was good. I think it was a good call.
There was some minor things that they didn't bring back that they could have, like you mentioned, the costumes. There could have been more boards, and there could have been more characters. I'm really hoping they support this game longer, give us some updates, some DLC to keep people interested for years to come.
Yeah.
Speaking of going back to classics, the last game we picked up for the year was Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Yes.
So I was really curious how Jesse would react to this game because the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were my favorite Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the games I invested so many hours into. I think my save file was like over 200 hours, and that was mostly hatching eggs for shiny.
I've never played the original Gen 4, the releases of those games. I didn't get back into Pokemon until Alola region.
Yeah,
Sun and Moon. So from there, I was able to get back into it, and so I played Sword and Shield, and I could say that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was more entertaining to me than Sword and Shield. Maybe it's just it's not even the chibi style gameplay, the retro looking game, characters and map. The Pokemon in the gen is just, they're great designs, and the Grand Underground, that's like a game in itself, like you're playing on top, Sinnoh, and then whenever you want to just like kick back, just go digging for a while, you just go to the Grand Underground, you have more options down there.
You can spend hours there.
And then you run into Pokemon that you don't see on the surface, so there's a lot of good reasons to go to the underground. Evolution items. Yeah, and then I finally fought the hated Cynthia.
Well, I wouldn't say she's hated.
Well, okay, feared.
Yeah, okay, feared. That's a better description.
Yeah, so I beat the game. It was it was a fun experience. It was okay. With that said, the Elite Four felt like an Elite Four to me.
Yeah,
and I haven't felt that since the original Gen 1. But like, don't take my word for a lot, because I skipped 2 through like 6.
No, you're pretty right. They've been kind of a cakewalk in recent years. Like, they're pretty pushover type of thing. All right, so that was the games that we played this year for the most part. There were a few others that we didn't really touch upon, but they were like side games or remakes that we played before. So keeping with the whole, end of year type thing, it's time to look forward to the future.
I believe this is the one that's coming out the earliest too.
Yes.
It's Pokemon Legends Arceus. This game was announced and it looks very promising. To sum it up, it looks like Pokemon Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
In ancient, like in Avatar ancient times.
There's also other games coming out in 2022. Some of them, like, the companies sound iffy on whether they are going to release this year, but we want to briefly touch on them. We did see that Bayonetta 3 was given a 2022 release. We would love it if they still stick to that release window. But Bayonetta has always been a game that we both have enjoyed. She's a sassy bitch, and we love her for that.
Yeah.
Like, another game that I know someone specifically is looking forward to is Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Yeah, so again, Breath of the Wild, but Kirby.
Okay, so when the trailer first stopped, I'm like, what is this? The Last of Us for E for everyone, or what?
It was almost like that moment for Mario Odyssey when you saw the T-Rex and you didn't know what game this was, and then you saw the mustache and the hat on him.
Very much.
So it's like for Kirby, it's like, oh, hey Kirby, what are you doing in this trailer?
Post-apocalyptic world. Yeah. So keeping in line with all the sequels, we're supposed to be getting the sequel to Mario and Rabbids as well for 2022.
Yeah.
So the first Mario and Rabbids game, I remember I was like, what is this? Like, I don't even like Rabbids, but it was I took a risk and it paid off. It was a fun game.
It was one of those like, okay, I gotta play it because this is different, and it's Mario plus Rabbids, which is a new concept, and it worked out. It was a tactics RPG.
Another sequel that's supposed to be dropping in 2022. This one I kind of have doubts that it's actually going to drop that year, but we'll see. It's the sequel to the Breath of the Wild. So it doesn't even have a title yet, so that's already kind of like, okay, red flag.
I'm already expecting like December 2022.
Yeah, if
anything, yeah.
Final game we're gonna be talking about today is Final Fantasy 16.
Another one of those, like, it's a game, it exists. I mean, it could come out 2022.
Yeah.
But well, that's another one we'll just have to wait and see on. They did show us a cutscene of the game, and it looks very Final Fantasy. I think magic is more involved in this one from the looks of it. So that's a plus because Magic in the Final Fantasy series, excluding 14, has been pretty backstage compared to like melee fighters and so like sword in your face kind of characters.
All right, so that's gonna wrap up this video, and with that, we're wrapping up the year as well.
Yeah. What were your favorite games of 2021?
Yes.
And what games are you looking forward to in 2022?
Let us know in the comments below. All right, guys. Well, definitely looking forward to the future. We're gonna be streaming more games that we love, and can't wait to see what the new year has in store for us.
Could be more surprises that we're just not aware of.
Yeah, and just things. We can't wait to see how things change for us as well, personally. So it's gonna be another big adventure. Hopefully, we get past all the crap that's going on in the world, and we finally get going back to how things used to be. And with that, we're gonna be ending the video, and we just can't wait to see what games 2022 has in store for us. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.